What's up, everybody? It's M. Sal, back with another book review. The book we're going to review today is Young, Rich, and Dangerous by Jermaine Dupri. Jermaine Dupri. He's a pioneer when it comes to hip-hop producers. He was kind of doing it before anyone else was on the scene. There's no Pharrell, there's no Timbaland. Dr. Dre was just getting started himself. And so he was really a pioneer of the sport. And he comes from Atlanta, Georgia, and music just started when he was a kid. His dad was big into like managing bands, and he was a roadie on tour. He ended up being a roadie for the Fresh Fest tour. If you're a hip hop head, you know the Fresh Fest tour is probably the biggest Def Jam tour from the 80s. And so Jermaine Dupri was a dancer, and so his dad got him a job opening the Fresh Fest tours as a dancer. So he was chilling with guys like Houdini, LL Cool J, the Def Jam Fresh Fest crew. And so he met his boy, I think his name was Chad. They formed a little hip-hop group going back and forth from New York to Atlanta. And then they broke up. Jermaine Dupri was being homeschooled, but he would hang out at the school and like at parties and stuff, the local high school, where he made a good friend who they liked to dance together and they were just friends. And they ended up, actually, I don't think it was them together. Jermaine Dupri wanted to get like his own group. He was interested in making groups. And one day he is just walking in the mall and he's signing autographs, and he notices these two kids just walking in the mall. The girl's going crazy over him. They're just buying shoes. He goes up to him. He says, "What do you guys do?" He says, "Nothing. We just kick it." And he knew from that point on, these are the guys that I'm going to manage. I'm going to turn them into superstars. And they became Crisscross, which really put Atlanta hip-hop on the map. So I don't even know if... I think it was actually before Minds Playing Tricks in Texas. But yeah, so they were really the first from the South to really make a name in hip-hop. And they started a movement, because look what it became like now. And yeah, so Jermaine Dupri, he created Crisscross. He had a few other acts. He ended up hooking up with TLC. They were at his crib all the time, recording music. Left Eye was pretty much living there. And then, yeah. So he goes on to make his label So Def. And he actually named it after Def Jam. He was like, "Yo, they're deaf, but we're so deaf." And that's how the name came to be. He talks about meeting his girlfriend, Janet Jackson, who I don't know how long ago this book was made. Yeah, I'm not sure how long ago this book was made. He was dating Janet Jackson at the time. Said she was his soulmate. And, that's cool, because, the Jacksons are, like, on pedestals in the music world. And for Jermaine Dupri is actually named after Jermaine Jackson. So to end up hooking up with Janet Jackson later in life, that's just full circle. And his dad must have been really proud about that, considering he named him. But yeah, he talks about So Def. He talks about working with stars like Mariah Carey and Jay-Z. He made his own album. He was pushed to make his own album. That's where his, like, probably one of the most famous singles in all of hip-hop is Money Ain't a Thing. Everyone knows that song. Top down screaming now, money ain't a thing. When you're in the whip, you're in the drop top, you gotta bump that. That's like the song to drive to. Drive to the drive-through. Okay. No, but yeah, so he worked with like Mariah Carey. He worked with Bow Wow after he left Death Row Records and turned Bow Wow into a hit. He ended up having some problems with Sony, so he took his label and left, told all the acts, hey, I'm leaving. You can all come with me if you believe in me. If not, no sweat. Everyone left, except for Da Brat. Da Brat now, I got a crush on Da Brat. Da Brat's so beautiful. But she's really loyal. She even tattooed Jermaine Dupri's name on her body. It was like, we're bonded together forever. And, he just appreciated that loyalty. That's really hard to come by in hip-hop. Everyone just is after the bag. They want to make that fast money. but not the brat. The brat was about family. It was about loyalty. And then Bow Wow left and was like acted surprised when Jermaine Dupri didn't want to work on his next album. But it's not like Jermaine Dupri didn't want to work on his album. He actually wanted to make the whole album, but Sony was like, you can only do 2 songs, and gave him like a BS deal. And he was like, I'm not doing that. Screw that. I made Bow Wow. You're gonna treat me like that? And yeah, so that's how that went down. He talks about the IRS almost seized his house because he relied on some people to do the business side of things that weren't really on top of the business side. So it resulted in like $1 million or $2 million. He had to write a big check to keep them from taking his house because they're already taking clothes, jewelry, and cars. So he wrote a big check, ended up firing a bunch of people, including his dad. Kept that relationship firmly just father and son. He had his own daughter. His daughter, he was in like denial when his daughter was being born. He's like, oh, that's not my baby. That's not my baby. And then like his baby mama left the birth certificate in his mailbox, and Jermaine Dupri's mom found it, was like, I have a grandchild. And he like, something overcame him, and like I don't know him personally, but he seemed like a good father in the book. He always made time for work and made time for his girl. But yeah, so the life of Jermaine Dupri, just a pioneer, probably one of the biggest hip hop producers in the game. Made a ton of hits. He really like 90s, early 2000s. He was top in the charts. He didn't just make beats. He didn't just rap. He built stars, which is very uncommon. Like, everyone's usually like, oh, I'm good at this, so I'm going to stick to this. You have to provide this. No. He's teaching you how to walk, how to talk, how to dress. He's teaching you everything. He makes stars, which is very uncommon. Actually, now, it's not so much uncommon anymore now. It's what a lot of people are doing. But I feel like now in hip-hop, it's more of a keeping it real kind of thing. Everyone wants you to just keep it real. So fakes don't make it anymore. And Jermaine Dupri, he saw real and made him even realer. So, Young, Rich, and Dangerous by Jermaine Dupri. If you're a hip-hop head, if you're a music head, this book's a 10 out of 10 must-have. And that's really it. I'm M. Style. Stay tuned for the next book review. Have a blessed one. Peace.